September the 25th, 1978. Morning broke over California, painting the skyline in golden hues. In the heart of Sacramento, passengers gathered at the airport, ready to board a familiar flight heading south. There was laughter, idle conversations, and the subtle buzz of jet engines warming in the distance. On the tarmac stood a gleaming Boeing 727-214, operated by Pacific Southwest Airlines. This was Flight 182, a routine run to San Diego, with a short stop in Los Angeles. Aboard were 128 passengers and 7 crew members, some returning home, others heading to work, and many PSA employees simply catching a ride. At the controls was Captain James McFrawn, with First Officer Robert Fox by his side. Both seasoned pilots. 2 off-duty pilots also joined them in the cockpit, quietly observing. At 8:34 a.m., the aircraft took off from Sacramento, flying smoothly through California skies. The short stop in Los Angeles went as planned. By 8:59 a.m., Flight 182 was airborne again, heading down the coast. Meanwhile, a small Cessna 172 had also taken to the skies. Inside were a flight instructor, Martin Casey Jr., and a student pilot, David Boswell. They were navigating under visual flight rules. Clear skies stretched across Southern California. Visibility was excellent, but with clear air came a dangerous illusion, one of safety. As Flight 182 approached San Diego, air traffic control alerted the crew to a nearby aircraft. Traffic at 12 o'clock, 1 mile, a Cessna. The captain responded calmly, "I see him." Moments later, a voice in the cockpit asked, "Are we clear of that Cessna?" Suppose it was a guess, a moment's misjudgment, a single word spoken with confidence, but without certainty. At 9:01 a.m., the Boeing and the Cessna collided in mid-air. The right wing of Flight 182 sliced into the smaller plane from behind, instantly destroying it. The Cessna's pieces fell like confetti, vanishing from radar. The Boeing, now critically damaged, began to descend rapidly. The crew struggled to regain control, but the aircraft was doomed. "Easy, baby, easy. Damn, we're hit. Mayday, mayday." At 9:02 a.m., Flight 182 slammed into the North Park neighborhood of San Diego. The impact created a fireball that consumed homes, cars, trees, everything in its path. The explosion was heard for miles. 22 homes were destroyed. 7 residents on the ground were killed instantly. What had been a peaceful residential street became a war zone. Firefighters and emergency crews arrived quickly, but there was little they could do. Flames raged. Smoke darkened the sky. Bodies were found in backyards, on rooftops, even in living rooms. Some passengers were still in their seats, unrecognizable, charred beyond belief. It was one of the darkest moments in American aviation history. San Diego was shaken. Families mourned. Communities came together to grieve and rebuild. But the questions came just as fast. How could this happen? What went wrong? And could it have been prevented? The investigation revealed a chain of errors. Visual separation had failed. Air traffic control hadn't provided sufficient altitude separation. Communication between the crew and the TC had gaps. The FAA's procedures for managing traffic in busy skies were outdated. Reforms followed. Airspace regulations were tightened. Collision avoidance systems were accelerated in development and made mandatory in commercial jets. Training protocols were rewritten. The skies would become safer, but the cost was unimaginable. Today, the legacy of Flight 182 endures. A small memorial in North Park honors the lives lost. Each September, survivors, families, and neighbors gather to remember. Some still carry the scars. Others pass down stories to ensure the memory never fades. Flight 182 was more than a tragedy. It was a turning point. A moment frozen in time that reshaped aviation, and left behind echoes that still linger in the skies over San Diego. In memory of the passengers, crew, and residents lost in the crash of PSA Flight 182.